They were within 15 miles of Monte Cristo when the sun began to set behind Corsica, whose mountains appeared against the sky, showing the rugged peaks in bold relief. This mass of rock, like the giant Adamastor, rose dead ahead, a formidable barrier, and intercepting the light that gilded its massive peaks so that the voyagers were in shadow. Little by little, the shadow rose higher and seemed to drive before it the last rays of the expiring day. At last, the reflection rested on the summit of the mountain, where it paused an instant, like the fiery crest of a volcano. Then gloom gradually covered the summit as it had covered the base, and the island now only appeared to be a gray mountain that grew continually darker. Half an hour later, the night was quite dark. Fortunately, the mariners were used to these latitudes, and knew every rock in the Tuscan Archipelago, for in the midst of this obscurity, Franz was not without uneasiness. Corsica had long since disappeared, and Monte Cristo itself was visible. But the sailors seemed, like the lynx, to see in the dark, and the pilot who steered did not evince the slightest hesitation. An hour had passed since the sun had set, when Franz fancied he saw, at a quarter of a mile to the left, a dark mass, but he could not precisely make out what it was. And fearing to excite the mirth of the sailors by mistaking a floating cloud for land, he remained silent. Suddenly, a great light appeared on the strand. A land might resemble a cloud, but the fire was not a meteor. "What is this light?" asked he. "Hush," said the captain. "It is a fire." "But you told me the island was uninhabited." "I said there were no fixed habitations on it, but I said also that it served sometimes as a harbor for smugglers." "Captain, I'm not sure that you explicitly said that it didn't have fixed habitations on it. I think you just said it was uninhabited. I have to mark a point in the column of Franz on this one. It does seem like the captain is continually trying to scare or make Franz nervous. What kind of operation is going on here? The captain also doesn't seem unsurprised to see this fire on the island of Monte Cristo. Is he bringing Franz to a clandestine spot? I want to break from talking about the story for a moment, since we are in one of those moments where it's hard to provide continual commentary because while things are moving, it's just not giving me many details to comment upon. So let me step back and do a little bit of podcast housekeeping. Something strange to me has happened in the new year, and it might just be a flash in the pan, but on the off chance that it is a new direction that the podcast is going, want to first acknowledge and thank all of you for listening and sharing the show. Right around the turn of the new year, there was a surge of new listeners to this show in a way that I can't even say like it was a handful of people. I mean, it was like an explosion of people. So if you are a new listener to the show, welcome. I'm very excited to have you. I will not go through the whole Patreon rigmarole at the moment, but want to direct your attention to the Discord. The link is in the show notes for this, whether you're watching on YouTube or whether you're listening on podcatchers. Join in the conversation. I want to hear from you. I want you to introduce yourself. I want you to tell me what you like about the story, the show, the podcast, all of the above. The show and the podcast are the same thing. I know that. Listen, if you've gotten this far in the show, you know that I'm not a strict professional at doing this. Yeah, I've been podcasting for nearly a decade at this point, but you know what? There's a certain authenticity to being rough around the edges. Anyway, I am a little flabbergasted at the amount of exposure that the show has gotten. Thankful, because this has, I guess, been the goal the whole time. I guess it's one of those things where you put it out into the world and you don't really know what the reality is going to be. So I'm feeling a weird sense of responsibility over the things I say now, maybe a little insecure. So I just want to embrace that. This is kind of a warts and all sort of situation. I don't speak French. We've covered that. I have mispronunciations all the time. I don't know where the story is going. So this is very much my raw experience as we learned in chapter 30. But here's the cool thing is the more people listening now means the more we can do with the show. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what you want that to be. I don't know what I want that to be. but there are opportunities starting to open up. And as I said, I've got a pretty big announcement to make during the 1-year anniversary episode. Not that I'm not doing a special episode, but episode 365, the 1-year anniversary episode, will have a big announcement about this podcast, about the podcast network, and things you can look forward to. I'm going to wait till the second half of this chapter to reveal the mind-blowing revelation I had in doing some research on Dumas and this book. And so I guess, what was the point of going into this podcast housekeeping? I don't know. I just wanted to acknowledge that numbers are skyrocketing all of a sudden, and you are to thank for that, for listening every day, for being here, for sharing the show, going on this journey with me. So thank you. I guess it's just a moment of celebration. We've all done it. We've all brought it this far, and it's only been 1 year. Who knows where we'll be by the 4-year mark. So stick with me. It's a long, long book. We're only a quarter of the way through it. It's the new year. Everyone wants to dive into that book they've always intended to read. This is, if you're just joining us for this episode for some reason, this is an absurd way to read the book, one page at a time. I don't recommend you do it on your own, but hopefully with the company of me and all of the listeners like you, you'll find some entertainment out of it, and maybe we'll experience the book in a completely different way than you would have otherwise. So stick with it, stick with me, and I promise I'll try to steer this ship in an honorable direction. Okay, with that, I think I'm going to share some Phantom of the Opera trivia tomorrow, so stick with me while we go to more of Chapter 31. Until then, okay, goodbye. The Countdown of Monte Cristo is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. This show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. Theme song by Magic Solo. If you want to support the show and others like it, visit patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.